Look, obviously, we're all about getting the best flight deal here at Thrifty Traveler, but I think there's a strategy that a lot of travelers miss out on, and that's rebooking and sometimes rebooking your flights to make sure that you're always getting the best price using your money or points. We hear it all the time. How do I know if I'm getting the best deal for my flight? And the short answer is, you don't. Flight prices change all the time, sometimes for the better and sometimes for the worse. But all that pricing volatility actually creates a lot of opportunity. You need to be paying attention to when your flight prices move so that you can rebook for a better price, you can upgrade your seat, you can change to a better flight at a better time of day. All of those things can help you make your trip a little bit better and save some money or points in the process. This travel strategy comes down to 3 main steps, really. It's booking the correct fare, it's getting yourself the correct alerts, and then rebooking the flight to save money or to make your trip better. Here's what I do every single time. So here's a real life example that I used. I needed to get back from the West Coast to home in Minneapolis, and I was staring at some really high flight prices, as you can see here. The most important thing to do if you want to use this strategy of rebooking flights is to avoid these basic economy fares. Why? Is because ticket changes will cost you a fee and they are not refundable fares. The most important thing is you need some flexibility. That's why I always book main cabin or above. In Delta's portfolio, they call them main classic fares. So I booked one of these so that I could freely change the ticket as much as I want, or I could get a refund for a Delta voucher to rebook if and when the price drops on these. If you're flying a foreign airline and not a domestic airline like Delta, you're gonna really need to make sure you check those change and cancellation policies so you don't get screwed when you book your fare. All right, you have the correct fare booked, but how are you gonna know when the price of your flight moves? That's where we turn to Google Flights, where you should always be searching for your flights first. So long as you have a Gmail account, which is free to sign up for, and you're logged into your Google account like I am here, you should be able to set up Google Flights price trackers. It's right here under Track Prices. You toggle this button on or off, and it subscribes you to an alert that gets sent to your email inbox the second that this price moves. So I've had this one tracked for a while, so it always shows up here on the main Google Flights page under Tracked Prices. You can see I have 3 of them set up, but it's way more than that. You can set up to 100 of these for free with Google Flights, and I'm almost always close to maxing these out, and I'll show you why. Not only am I going to track the flight that I've already booked, this 8:50 a.m. Delta flight to Minneapolis, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna set up a bunch more trackers. As you can see, I set up a tracker that just tracks every single flight flying between those 2 cities in the day, including some ones with connections that are gonna save me a lot of money if I wanna book, some low-cost carriers, even some other airlines like this. How do you do it? Through the price tracker. Right here, I've toggled this on, so I'm constantly getting alerts when the flight prices move. Not only are you gonna wanna do this for the exact flights and the exact day that you're looking for, I would go to the day before, maybe this Friday, March 20th, and set up the same thing like I've already done, or go to the day after, Sunday, March 22nd, and do the same thing. Set up as many price alerts on the same flight as you can. That way you're always getting notified when the prices change. Okay, now, finally, this is what the price tracker actually looks like once it's in your account. I've been tracking this price for a few months already. What it does is it has the list here. I also have the cheapest flight of that day tracked right here. But I'm gonna look at the price history because this is gonna give you a lot of information as to where the flight prices are going. So as you can see, it started out when I booked it, when I started the tracker 135 days ago at $374. I've been waiting for it to get below that for a long time. It has not. It's only gone up. Recently, it's gone back down just a little bit. But as you can see, it notified me when this price dropped from $424 to down to $379. In that case, I was watching it very closely to see if it would get below what I actually paid for it. These price history calendars are really important and super helpful for getting you the best deal on your next flight. Use Google Flights price alerts. It's the best way to make sure you save on rebooking flights. Besides Google Flights, you can also subscribe to flight deal alert services like ours. We call ours Thrifty Traveler Premium. This is an especially good way to find out if points and miles rates have dropped since you booked them. Take, for instance, this Delta SkyMiles flash sale we found flying to Europe under 26,000 SkyMiles round trip. This is actually real. Let's say you booked round trip flights to Europe, but you paid closer to like 40, 50, 60,000 sky miles round trip. All of a sudden you wake up and you get an email like this in your inbox showing you that even from places like Allentown, Pennsylvania and Aberdeen, South Dakota, you could fly round trip to Europe for 26,000 sky miles. That is how you know to quickly log on and rebook your flights to make sure that you save your points and miles. But going back to our San Diego example, I found this flight deal right here. So I went down and I looked at the Minneapolis price, was down to $238. That is a great time to go and click this Google Flights link and rebook for a voucher, or, as I'll show you in a second, log into Delta and just change your flight instead of rebooking at all. All right, let's talk quickly about the actual rebooking. So if you're flying an international airline or some US airlines, when that price drops, when you are alerted to a better price, sometimes you're just gonna have to cancel the existing flight and rebook. That's either using your e-credit or the points and miles that you had refunded to you. The best way to do it, of course, is to rebook first and then cancel the other flight just to make sure that you're holding a spot on that flight. But when you're flying the US airlines like American or Delta or even Southwest Airlines, you don't even have to cancel and rebook. You can just change the flight. So, for instance, this is my itinerary on the San Diego to Minneapolis flight. I go right here to this change or add flights button. And when I do, it takes me to this change flight results page. So what I'm looking at here is, this is my original flight, or the flight that I've rebooked onto already. I'll show you why in a second. This is what it would be to change to any one of these flights. So for instance, this Delta Main Basic fare, if I booked this, I would actually get 2,600 miles back. So what you do is you go to this page. If the price does drop, your original flight will actually show up cheaper. Now, let me show you what I actually did with this flight. So way back on July 5th, I booked this San Diego to MSP flight for my wife and I for 38,400 sky miles. A few days later, I got alerted that those flight prices had dropped. So I went in and I did that exact change, moving up into the comfort cabin and still getting a refund of close to 7,000 points. And that's why, if you can, just rebook directly with the airline using the US carriers. Booking the cheapest flight is important, but rebooking when the price drops is how the savviest travelers actually save on their flights. The key, book main cabin, track the flights you've already booked, and then rebook for the price difference when that price finally drops. Now, go check all your flights.